G'day, it's Nicola here. I've got a case study for you today. It's called Atomic Pilgrim, and it's a nuclear peace memoir by James Patrick Thomas. The show today is brought to you thanks to the Structure Success video training, which helps you come up with an outline for your life story project. I'll have details on how you can get this free gift towards the end of the show, so please stick with me. The full title of Atomic Pilgrim is How Walking Thousands of Miles for Peace Led to Uncovering Some of America's Darkest Nuclear Secrets. And it's been put out by Latah Books. And it's basically about a Cold War pilgrimage and also a 20-year focus on the Hanford plutonium factory. And in this show, I'm going to go over a bit more about what it's about, how Thomas came to create this work, and then his tips for us as life story creators. So let's jump into a bit more about it. So Atomic Pilgrim, it's set firstly back in the 1980s on Thomas's 20-month peace walk from America to Bethlehem. There was a group, they covered almost 9 countries and covered 6,700 miles, which is equivalent to 10,780 kilometres. An enormous amount of walking, crazy. So this peace walk was specifically about nuclear disarmament. We're talking, the Cold War. And it was a massive achievement for Thomas. But then on his return back to Washington, he ended up spending decades, over 20 years, investigating the plutonium factory. And so he felt at the end of his career and end of his working life, he couldn't fully retire until he wanted to tackle this book. He wanted to write about the walk, and he also wanted to write about the factory. Luckily, he had some really encouraging and supportive friends and family. His wife was a little skeptical, and when I caught up with Thomas, he said he himself was hugely intimidated by this project. He really, really wasn't sure whether he could do it or not. So how did he do it? What did he do to get it written? Well, the creating, he said the process took about 7 years, so from idea to publication. And during that time, there was about 5 years of writing. So he was not familiar with writing a book or anything like that. So he took some writing classes early on, and then he came up with a writing routine. So his that suited him was 4 days a week, and that was split into a morning and afternoon shift, so to speak. So in the morning, he would write out by hand his draft, and then in the afternoon, after lunch, he would research and revise for the life story. Now, that's a great routine, and everyone, gets down and does the writing, but there's always a little few bumps in the road. So what was Thomas's? His challenges was that he had to learn to trust his instinct. And one of the ways he did that was to pray each day before writing. And this was praying that they did when they were doing the peace walk. They would pray at the start every day. So when he was writing, he said he would pray to God to give me the words that my readers needed to hear. Also, another challenge was that he had to link the two stories. So the walk and the factory, he had to somehow come up with a way to bridge those two stories into something bigger. And of course, we all face this, the challenge of cutting our favourite bits of writing or our best writing because they're not fitting or they're not aligned with our theme, and that sometimes a manuscript is better when it is a little bit cut, and less is better, less is more. But on the flip side, there were many rewards to doing this project. Firstly, the messages of gratitude, Thomas says, from his fellow pilgrims was amazing. There was so much appreciation for him from them that he had written this book, and he says it made the years of labour worth it. I know you're busting though. What are his top tips if you're sitting here going, I really want to write a life story. I really want to interview a loved one and get their life story down. I need some help. Well, his tips are, firstly, was number 1, before you sit down and write, sit in silence and listen to your heart's deepest desires so that you can hope for what you are writing about. So almost doing that prayer again before you're writing, getting centered and clear about what you're trying to create and letting that creativity flow. The second tip he has was a book, actually, Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. And this, he says, helped him trust his ability to write, and especially understanding that we need to tell the truth when we're writing, and that the truth somehow always wants to come to the surface. It's busting to come up, and your readers kind of know when you're half telling the truth. So that was his second tip. And finally, he says, was surround yourself with friends. In his instance, he had friends who were doing writing, friends who were writing about Hanford plutonium factory, and they were doing their own books. And he says having that community, that group, really gave him hope that he could achieve and renew his hope that he could achieve his own book. So there you go, that's a quick case study on a Cold War pilgrimage that leads to Washington's toxic Hanford site. I've gone over a bit about Atomic Pilgrim, what it's about, how it came to be, and then Thomas's tips for us for our own writing. And he really wanted me to stress that in listening to this show, that you take away that when you choose hope, you're also waging peace. So yeah, a really good, important thing to take away in these turbulent times around the world. Now, this show is a snippet of a larger article I have over at my website about this topic. Go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/Atomic Pilgrim. You'll see copies of the book. There's a picture of Thomas and him on his walk. There's also links to buy the book and much more. So I hope you go look over there. And also, I'd love to hear some comments from you. Specifically, if you can answer the question, what social causes have you ever backed? You've got a peace walk here, a wonderful example, but I'm curious, what have you done? Have you done anything that could help your community? Please leave me a comment. And you can also email me at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/contact. There's a form there. You can leave a comment, or you can ask me any questions you might have about life story creating. I check that regularly, and I'd love to get back in touch with you to help you get through anything that's frustrating you with your writing or anything like that. Now, before I go, I mentioned the Structure Success video training. So this is a video. I hold your hand. We go through a simple exercise of identifying your key memories and key events in your life, and then focusing them into chapters. So we've got a rough outline of your project, a roadmap so you can stay on track and get started or finished wherever you are in that project. So to get your hands on this training, go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/free. I know it's going to be really helpful. Now, I'll be back again soon with another topic, and it would be excellent if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, leave us a review, and until then, happy writing.